What's up, Leighton? 1 second. Why can't I share the stream? That's weird. You were pretty fast. Okay. Alright, let me just add everyone real quick. Alright. We good right now? Alright, I've been like trying to switch like this entire thing. I don't even think it's gonna be called this either, so we're probably switching the title too. Kind of crazy switch, but I'm probably gonna work on this some more tonight. Kind of feeling it. Just kind of like not a good thing. I don't know. I don't know how to word that. It's kind of not a good thing that I'm feeling this, but I'm feeling this. So now's the time to work on it. Now's a good time to work on it. I was just I'm trying to get the idea down of like how I can switch this, because the original scene is meant to be Grail writing about herself, but Grail does not, obviously does not really write. And the idea was that Nelly had convinced her to write. That was kind of the idea. Like, Nelly convinced her that writing helps sometimes, so maybe I should try writing. Maybe that'll make me feel better. So she like wrote out her like anger kind of thing. But now I'm changing it, which is a lot of a hassle. But I feel like that's just not true to her character. I feel like, well, I mean, I think it could work. It's not like super far fetched that Nelly convinced her to try to write, but it's I don't know. It doesn't make sense, I guess. Like, a couple things don't make sense. One, can Grail write? That's the thing that I thought of. Like, can she write? Would she be able to write? I have decided that Grail can read. Not amazingly, but Grail can read, like, to an extent of like understanding. Like, she can read something and understand it. She's probably not the best reader by any means, but she could reach it. I don't know if she could write. Never really thought about that. I feel like she probably can't, because why would she be able to? She's never been taught, so I don't think she'd be able to write. I think reading, like, I think maybe some people have taught her. Maybe she's, like, kind of picked it up somehow, something like that. I mean, she needs to be able to read to some extent. I think that makes some sense, that she can read a little bit. I think that's pretty fair. But yeah, I don't know if she can write, so maybe Nelly will have to teach her to write in the book, and I don't want this to be the book. So basically what we're trying to switch it from is I'm trying to switch it from her writing about herself to a much more difficult thing, which is she's ranting to herself, which is awkward, but it's true. Like, it happens. I've done it before. Like, especially when you're that angry, you talk. Like, it's like, well, not you, but, you know, Grail, I guess. I'll say Grail. When she's that angry, it would make sense that she would talk to herself, like, because she's saying certain things out loud, or a lot of things out loud, just basically like having, like, because she wants to hear herself, she wants to hear the conversation that she's trying to have, kind of thing. wants it to be outside of her head. But I also I'm leaving a few thoughts inside her head because there's kind of like it's meant to be like the back and forth. It's meant to be the back and forth, right? The back and forth between her and this thing in her mind. So that's why, like, the start is the hardest. So, like, this is the first line where she says it out loud, right? This is all just, like, flavoring, like, the setup. The very first thing she says, like, "Rah, why can't we just enjoy this?" As she's like, looking through the trees for her friend, basically. Which is a reference to an animal that she likes. Yeah, so she had done this for the past few weeks in hopes for her to come save her from this hell she felt inside, but only her breath showed itself in the air in front of her. Which, yeah, there's a reason why her forest friend is not around right now at this time. And then immediately, like, so yeah, she's saying, like, "Rock, why can't we just enjoy this?" Because it's kind of, like, nice, like, she likes it out here, so why can't I just enjoy this? I don't know if that's exactly going to be the line, or if this is going to be the response, but I do like this, like, quit waiting for something else to save you. Life ain't about happiness, not your way of life, not our way of life. It spoke to her. If only all that strength could lift your ego side, then maybe you could get to work on the ends. We got man to eject, which is a reference to a few things she said before. This line's okay, like, all that's okay. This is like one of the harder parts. Is like setting the scene up. Setting that scene up is really difficult. But this part was good, I think. Hearing this, she glanced down at her knife, the infamous long blade that held a spot in others' minds. Often at night when they dreamt, few saw. Oh, it should be saw. I wrote this quickly, so there's going to be some edits that need to be done. The famous long blade that held a spot in others' mind. Often at night when they dreamt, few saw her getting busy with it in Renmore. She did it so many times before. This all I just wrote, like, really quickly, so like I said, I don't know how good it is, but why was the voice so convincing? But she knew why. No matter how much it seemed like someone else sharing her mind, it was her. Yeah, so, like, I'm gonna redo these lines, but the idea is there. The idea is, like, she feels like she's alone, because she's physically alone, but it feels like she's sharing her mind, because she's having a back and forth, and, like, it doesn't feel like it's her, but she knows deep down it's just her. But yeah, this is what I worked on mainly. I work on this. So this is her talking out loud to herself. And I'm hoping that it comes off that way, where it's like, it should come off as a conversation, but also, like, clearly she's alone type shit. Which is like her saying, like, "Can you believe them lot?" Grail spoke to herself. They really tanked that we all here for a reason. Rah, I guess we are all here. I guess in a way we are. In the way I am. She laughed at her words. Words that brought memories of pain she brought upon all Wayside members. This ain't no fantasy, though. Not all of us are destined for greatness. You lot are nothing more than a small piece of a much larger story. We all walk the ends like we're to dawn, but if you step to man, you'll find out quickly that's not the case. You're just feeling something much bigger without knowing it. I seen Bear Man walk the block just to die, turn pack just so some neat could feel some type of way. Maybe that's your purpose in life, soaking my streets after everything we went through, but me? Man's so much more than just a piece of some fucking story. Like, rah, we ain't the same. Let's not pretend we are. Man's nothing like me. Them man out here acting tough, but then bitching about jumping the blade. Like, is man the only one that knows what we signed up for? Cause in these streets, men are getting yinged up every night. I did that. So, like, right here, the "I did that" part, that's the voice in her head. And that shit's gonna hit so fucking hard when I record the, like, actual official audio of this, where it's like, dude, that shit's gonna hit so hard. I'm actually so excited for that, if I can pull it off. But just, like, that's really cool. It's almost like it's like doing ad-libs for her, basically. That's what it is, right? Like, in these streets, men are getting yinged up every night. I did that. It's just, like, the voice in her head. That shit's badass as fuck, bro. I'm really excited for that, honestly. Alright. What does she look like? I don't know if I have a picture here. I don't think I have a picture here. She's tall as fuck. She's pretty big, a little muscular. I mean, I do a description of her. Actually, it's down here somewhere. Like this. Somehow, even in the water, the color of her eyes stood out. Those soul-piercing golden yellow eyes were one of the most noticeable things about her after all. That and her height. Grail had never met another woman anywhere near as tall as her, and she liked it that way. I should use centimeters, I think. 195 centimeters rather than meters. But she's 6'4". I'm gonna take that out though. Just using a metric system, it's better. So 195 centimeters tall, towers above most, or all other females, most men she has seen. She didn't really look like the type to be riding, and she wasn't. Grail was a warrior, one with many scars that covered her arms, the most noticeable ones being one that cut slightly into her hairline from her forehead, and the jagged line that parted the center of her lower lip and curved out the top. Other than that, some loose strands that dangled down her face to her sharp jawline. Most of her black hair was tied up into a messy bun to keep out of her way. Although she was strong, tough, and larger than the average person, she was still slim for her size, probably caused by the lack of food she was able to attain while living on the streets in South Vela. It's like a short description of her. Yeah, she's got a pretty wicked cut through her lip and some pretty cool scars, but yeah. Yeah, Grail's tall as fuck. I mean, she's literally she's like a giant, basically, to a lot of these fucking people. Actually, there's only, as far as I'm aware, there's only one character taller than her in the book right now. I'm trying to remember. Actually, I don't even know if he's taller. He's bigger. Like, he is bigger for sure, but I don't know if he's taller. I don't actually know how tall he is. He's somewhere around her height. But most people are not, so. I don't know what you're saying right now. Alright. Responding to something real quick. Alright. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Alright. I don't know, like, where this line should be, or if this line should be, but I think this line is cool. I don't know, like, people aren't gonna get any of these lines, though, but I think that makes it more real that she is genuinely talking to herself, because I want there to be parts where you're like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? But, like, it makes sense to her. That makes sense, right? But, like, this line, I don't even know if I should describe it, where it's like, can you believe them lot? They really think that we all here for a reason, rah. I guess in a way we are. In the way I am. Like, I don't, and, like, she finds that funny. Like, this is a joke. She's saying this as a joke. Although it's, like, not funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's like, well, I mean, it's pretty serious shit. It's just a play on words. Like, she's saying, I guess in a way we are. In the way I am. Because, like, the way is, it's a place. It's specifically the place where she's done a lot of bad things to a lot of people. So she's just saying, like, it's basically, this should be the voice in her head, right? So again, it's gonna be like that ad-lib type shit, right? So she's actually saying this out loud, but the second, right as she said, like, rah, I guess in a way we are, then, like, the voice in her head is immediately like, yeah, in the way I am. And she's, like, finding it funny. Maybe something like that. I don't know, maybe she shouldn't be finding it funny, but maybe he's like scoffed at her words. She scoffed at the sudden remark. Those words brought back memories. I don't know, but then it makes it sound like bad. Those words brought back. Those words brought back memories. Or brought up. Let me think. But it kind of describes it here. If I want to keep this line in, like you should be able to pick it up. Because like when you first read this, you wouldn't know what she meant. Like in the way I am. But then obviously if you like read this line, you know, those words held memories of pain she had brought upon all Wayside members. So obviously you can put two and two together. Like she's talking about this, the gang. This ain't no fantasy, though. Not all of us are destined for greatness. You lot are nothing more than a small piece of a much larger story. I don't know if she would say it like that either, but, you know, so far. This shit is pretty good. This is definitely what I think she would say. This is really good. But I feel like the issue here is, also, what do you call it? I don't know if it sounds like she's talking to herself. I feel like this did to me, but this doesn't. We all walk the ends like we're the dawn, but if you step to man, but if they step to man, they all walk the block. I think it should be they, not we. I mean, even though we is what I meant, and it applies, it should be more like they all walk the ends like they're the dawn. They're the dawn. Something like that. They all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step to man, they'll find. I don't know if it should be like that though. But if they step to man, they'll find out. I mean, it should be like a D sounding, but like, I can just do it like this for now. But if they step to man, they'll find quickly that's not the case. They all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step to men, they'll find quickly that's not the case. It should be like they don't listen. That's what it should be, because that's what she'd be saying to herself. They all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step to men, they'll find that's not the case. But there's not really a way to put it in. It'd have to be at the very beginning. Them men don't listen. They all walk the... Yeah, actually, no, it works at the beginning. Them men don't listen. They all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step to men, they'll find out quickly that's not the case. Just feeling something bigger without knowing it. Just feeling something bigger without knowing it. You should say like big man thing. Like basically. That's actually, I could put that in here actually. Somewhere. I could definitely get that. But I seen Bear Man walk the block just to die, turn pack. And some Neek could feel some way about it. I don't know how much I want her to like talk her shit, but it's like this is what she's kind of doing. This is what it's turning into. Is she's talking her fucking shit, bro. It's so hard for me to read, but it's like this is her talking her shit. This is how she talks her shit. And like I think the angrier Grail gets, the more she like speaks in her accent. I really think that's like just how she is. Dim men don't listen. They all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step to man, they'll find quickly that's not the case. Just feeling something bigger without knowing it. I seen Bear Man walk the block just to die, turned packed in some neek, express some type of way about it. You ain't on piss. Maybe that's your purpose in life, soaking my streets after everything we went through. But me, man's so much more than just a piece of some fucking story. Man knows I'm much more than something like that. That's starting to sound pretty good. How long do you plan on streaming today? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna work on this for a bit. I mean, I'm kind of just streaming because I don't really feel that well, to be honest. I know I can't sleep. Like, I know I won't be able to sleep. I haven't been feeling well. So, yeah, I don't know. Not sure. For a while, probably. For a while, probably. Maybe that's your purpose in life, soaking my streets after everything we went through. But me? Man's so much more than just a piece of some fucking story. I feel like that works, but I don't know. Man's so much more. Man's worth so much more than just... Man's so much more than just a small piece of some fucking story. Of this story. I don't know if that sounds better or not, of a small piece of this story. Actually, you know what would make more sense? She wants to be more. Man wants to be, well, but what'd she say wants? Man's so much more than just some piece of some... Man's so much more than just a piece of some fucking story. Maybe the voice in her head should be like, you want to be. Something like that. Because it's about wanting. She wants it, but she, like, speaks it into existence. Like, I'm so much more than that. It's not necessarily that she is. It's just that she's speaking it into existence. That's all part of it. But me, I'm so much more than just some piece of... I don't know. And so much more. It's not bad, I'm just being really nitpicky about that. This line I think is good. I think this line's good. Like, rah, we ain't the same, let's not pretend we are. Man's nothing like me. Damn man out here acting tough, but then bitching about jumping the blade. Like, is man the only one that knows what we signed up for? Guy in the streets, men are getting yinged up every night. I did that. I think that's pretty fucking good. And then immediately goes back into her talking. Like, the I did that is in her head. The back, and like, just that wicked shit in her head goes immediately back to her, like, being mad. Like, yeah, that's the hatred that shed the weak and worthless side of me. She don't live, but Grail's here to stay. Don't need no help, I did this on my own. I wrote that too. This is like out of context, but that's supposed to be in here somewhere, or that's a feeling that I wrote down to remember it. Also this one, like this hate I feel is truly a gift, come test it. And again, the come test it, that's in her head. So it's like, basically, that's what I want to do with this part, is I want to have these like little remarks. It's like, basically like she'd be having a conversation with herself, right? Like, out loud, this hate I feel is truly a gift, and in her mind, come test it. Like, she wants that shit. I really like it. It's cool as fuck. If I could pull it off. I wonder who's all in here. It says 5 people are in here, but I only see you, Leighton. I wonder where they're at. It's feeling cute. But no. None of you lot understand. You won't ever understand. I don't know if she needs to repeat that. I liked it originally. I'm not sure if I like it now. Where I'm from, you're either the greatest or you're nothing. I used to be nothing, but then I found a way. She paused for a moment. Grail found a way. But look at you now, after you turned that man dust. But look at you now, after you turn that man dust, you step with none your equal. Yeah, I notice. I like that. I kind of like that. It's the opposite. This time it's like the voice in her head, like, yeah, but look at you now, after you turn that man dust, you stand with none your equal. And immediately she's like, yeah, I notice. Like, it's like, there is no, I know what, I know. I feel it too. Like, she's in agreement with it. It's like almost like in a weird way, like her hype man. It's like literally, there's another voice that's constantly, like, that's why she has, it's part of why she has such a big ego and like such a, like so much confidence. It's just even more. Like, even more, it's just, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. It's like verification, I guess. There's a different word that I'm looking for, but anyways. She's just, like, constantly getting that, like, getting credit. But they don't. Yeah, I notice, she replied to the voice in her head, but they don't. She feels like other people don't get it. And then this goes back to, like, this is where I was actually, like, at. Because this is, like, the previous scene, like, where she's writing. Dude, there's some really good parts down here, though. I don't want to fuck them up. But hopefully I can just, like... dude, I don't know. This is such a big, like, thing to do. Alright, let me read the beginning again. I'm just curious. See what we think of the beginning. With no one left in her life for the time being, and the only thing to comfort her now far from reach, all feeling fled as the cold wind swept. The snow had mostly melted around her, and the bare trees offered no cover from the outside world. This was her sanctuary, but it was absent her best friend once more. Where she had gone, Grail did not know. Now she sat with the greatest of company. The blade near her waist was far colder than that icy lake. It had froze many men before. It was the only thing that never slipped her mind, especially the times when it found its way in between her bones. She may have stood there alone, gazing at nothing, but the last thing she felt was privacy. Something sinister embedded in her head gave her unwanted company wherever she might roam. Wherever she may roam. Should be may? Wherever she may roam. Something sinister embedded in her head gave her unwanted company wherever she may roam, racking her brain with insults and trauma, a voice that had convinced her to inject metal on more than one occasion. Bruh, can't we just enjoy this? Bro, why can't I just enjoy this? I don't know if she would say that. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what would she say out loud? Because she would say, like, I feel like, you know, it's fine that she says something out loud following these feelings. But, like, obviously, she's having this whole feeling of just, like, her best friend is gone. She's referring to the animal. There's, like, an animal that lives in this area, and she hasn't seen her for a while. Which makes sense, because, you know, well, Grail doesn't know anything about animals, but the animal's a bear. And, like, it's hibernating. Like, that's why it's, like, that's why, yeah, that's the reference. Like, this was her sanctuary, but it was absent her best friend once more. Where she had gone, Grail did not know. Because, like, basically the bear just disappeared. It's like, where the fuck are you? So now it's like, well, now this is my company, the blade on my hip. And it's the greatest company. That's like a pretty shitty line. But it needs to be there. It's like a pretty shitty line because it's like, she loves the bear, like she loves the animal, she wants to see it. But then, like, deep down, there's like this voice that's constantly like, yeah, but at least you have, like, now you've got the greatest of company, far better than that. Like this blade. Which obviously isn't true, but it's being said and being felt. So, pretty shitty feeling. But that's like Grail's mechanism for like being always okay though, is because it's like it's always looking at, in a weird way, the bright side, if you want to put it that way. It's like, well, fuck it, I don't need the thing that I wanted. I have this thing that's even better. But yeah, what would she say though? More than one occasion. Maybe it would. Maybe it should start with the voice. Maybe the voice should be like, she don't like you. Something like that. The animal doesn't care kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, it could do that, like... What would she call the animal though? I don't know. I don't think she would. She calls people like people she doesn't like. She says neek. I don't think she would call the animal that. That's like her insult. I don't think she'd say that about the animal. I'm trying to think what she would say. I mean, she could say like another liar. That doesn't hit as hard. Fraud, I don't think she'd use that word. Or it could say something along the lines of like, I'm the only one that doesn't leave you type shit, but I don't know. I'm trying to think, what would it say? Like, even it left you. Even it left you, like when are you gonna learn? Type shit. Something like that, roughly. I don't know if I like how long that sentence is for it. This is good, the no one cares for you kind of like vibe, that's good. I don't think it asks questions. I think questions are weird for it. I don't think it asks questions. No one cares for you. Maybe she shouldn't even say like... she could like threaten herself. That might be weird though. I don't know if she would say like, Raw, why can't we just enjoy this? This is so hard to make this like, because this is already a written scene and I'm like changing it and it's so fucking difficult, man, because I don't know what to change. Like, it's so awkward to change. So, okay, we basically do that. I mean, it looks good. This looks good. Why is there a blue line? Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it would say here either. Even the big dog left you. No one cares for you. It's That's kind of what that's what Grail calls it, like the big dog. But I don't know, like, it sounds like it's too like it's funny like when Grail says it, but it shouldn't be in like the line that's. Maybe it should just be. Oh, okay, here we go. This is what it should be. Yeah, it should just be like that. It doesn't care for you. No one cares for you. And actually, she should just be like, yeah, Ra, you think I don't notice? It should be like that. Ra, you think I don't notice? Something like that. What's up, man? I was the Quasi guy. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. I called you an inspiration for real, and I believe you are the best inspiration for content creators. That means a lot, man. That means a lot. I mean, I'm, 1 second. I'm gonna turn off this fan. This shit's too hot. I almost stabbed myself right there, by the way. Holy fuck. But anyways, I'm good. I appreciate that, man. I feel like I'm not, I don't know if I'm like much of an inspiration. Seems how I feel like none of my clips are gonna go to anybody. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be a pretty good role model if I can, I suppose. I'm trying to be true to like myself. And I think that's like the best thing that like just people can do. Is just be like true to themselves, be honest. I don't know, there's really no point to like lie about shit or anything like that. But yeah, I think I don't know. I guess like my main messages for people I think are pretty good ones. Maybe one day a lot of people will see them, and hopefully, I mean, I know like a couple people have messaged me saying like just some ideas that I've had have helped them, which is pretty awesome. Feels really weird. Like even having like 5 people watching my stream is pretty cool, especially considering it's writing, and like I understand that like this is probably not the most fun thing to watch, but I don't know. I figured. Well, honestly, the reason I turn on my stream is because I'm not feeling that well. Like I just don't. I don't know. I'm not happy. I guess like that. But that's how I always am. It's like not anything new, but kind of just not happy. And the only way I mean, I'm not gonna be able to sleep regardless. So I figured I'll do something on stream, or like throw my stream on and see who's on. So you know, I appreciate the kind message. That goes a long way. It means a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to work on the writing on stream. I know it's like probably, yeah, like I said, it's not the most fun thing to watch or anything. Because also it's like for me to actually work on it too. Like there's a lot of times. I mean, you've already heard it. There's a lot of times like when I'm actually working on a line, I need to like actually like either I need to say it out loud. I guess that's fine for the stream. They probably don't mind. But also I need to like think in my own head for a while too. Like there's a lot of times where I just have to sit in silence, like just thinking of like what could this be. Alright. A voice that convinced her to inject metal on more than one occasion. It doesn't care for you. No one cares for you. Ra, you think I don't notice? Grail continually scanned the trees for her friend. Grail... Maybe it's like Grail agreed. It should be like that. Maybe like that. So it's like Grail agrees, right? So it's like it doesn't care for you. No one cares for you. Grail replies like, "Rah, you think I don't notice?" Grail agreed, while still subconsciously scanning the trees for her friend. So she's kind of like agreeing. She's like, yeah, of course nothing cares for me. You think I don't know this? But then she's still like waiting though. She's still like in the back of her mind. She's still like wondering though, where's her friend? Because it kind of like she knows it cares, but like her anger won't let her accept that. Something she had done every day for the last few weeks in hopes that she would come save her from this hell she felt inside, but only her breath showed itself in the air in front of her. Quit waiting for something to show you love. You ain't deserving. Life ain't about happiness, not our way of life. It spoke to her. If only If only all that strength could lift your ego aside, maybe then we could get to work on the ends. Maybe then we could get back to work on the ends. Get back to work. I knew it was missing a word somewhere in there. It's that one. If only all that strength could lift your ego aside, maybe then we could get back to work on the ends. We got more man to eject. We got shit to do, man. More man to eject. We got shit to do, more man to eject. I don't know if I should add that. We got shit to do. It could go that way. It could add like one more line or something right there. If only all that strength could lift your ego aside, maybe then we could get back to work on the ends. We got more man to eject. Hearing this, she glanced down at her knife, the famous long blade that held a spot in many minds. In many minds. The famous long blade that held a spot in many minds, often at night when they dreamt. Often at night when they dreamt. Often at night. This sounds weird. I knew it sounded weird the first time I wrote it, but... Often at night when they dreamt. Trying to think of how this could be phrased. The blade that held a spot in many minds, the famous long blade that held a spot in many minds, more than one man saw her getting busy with it in Renmore. More than one man saw her getting busy with it in Renmore. Nah, that doesn't really work. I was gonna say, like, only to wake up from their nightmare type shit. Like, that's definitely the vibe. This line is based on... There's, like, a line I wrote, Grail, where she, like, refers to giving someone PTSD, essentially, from what she's done. That's what this line's referencing. So it's kind of like this... The blade is, like, famous, and it holds a spot in many minds. How do you say, like, many a nightmare? Can you do that? That's a thing. That's the thing people do, right? It's, like, not common, but that's technically correct, right, on English? Many a nightmare woke. Something like that. Many a nightmare. I think that's, like, technically accurate, I feel like. Something like that. Something like that, maybe. Does that sound good? Let's see. Hearing this, she glanced down at her knife, the famous long blade, the famous long blade that held a spot in many minds, more than a simple nightmare. When some man woke when some man I know it should be men, but I don't like... I don't know, I don't like that. More than a simple nightmare. When they woke. More than a simple nightmare, when they woke from dream with Grail. Woke from a dream from any... I don't know, I just don't like the way it's phrased, bro. It just sounds weird. When they woke from any dream with Grail in them, they lay petrified, praying that the insides they saw uncovered were just in their dream. It's like all just like slightly missing, you know? Like, I don't know, something about it, it's off, but like not by much. Hearing this, she glanced down at her knife. Even that, like, I don't like the term knife there. I don't know, what do I want here? There we go, we're kind of cooking a little bit. Something like this. Hearing this, her gaze gave way to steel. The famous long blade that graced her hip also graced many minds in Vela with nightmare and torment? Something like that, I don't know. Also graced many minds in Vela with nightmare. Also graced many minds in Vela with... Something like that, maybe? Hearing this, her gaze gave way to steel. The famous long blade that graced her hip also graced many minds in Vela with late nights absent sleep. It was more than a dream when Grail appeared. Once woken, they lay petrified, praying that the insides they saw uncovered were just in their dream. It was more than just a dream. Something like that. Something like that, too. Alright, I'm starting to cook a little bit here. I'm starting to come up with some shit. Too bad the voice was winning. She felt her right hand itching for a flick in the street. That was the most efficient way to rid her hatred. Second most, added the voice. Yeah, that's some pretty dark shit. That works. Okay, so we can get rid of this line now. Okay, so her hand... See, she felt her hand itching. Yeah. Is that how you spell that word? I've never wrote that word in my entire life. Brandished? Like you brandish a firearm type shit? I know I'm asking a question and no one's answering. Like, no one's here, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. No one's talking anyways anymore in the chat. But if anybody knows, that's the word, right? Brandished? Is that the word I should use? Her shaking hand might have made you think otherwise, but when she pulled the blade out of her waistband, it was brandished with confidence. Is that correct? I don't know if I like that word. Is there another word that I could use, or is that's probably the... I mean, that is the one. I think that's like the correct term. And then we'll have to transition it into this somehow. Second most, yeah. I feel like I'm sort of in a little bit of a bag here. Tiny one, a tiny bag I'm in, kind of, right here, writing. Right, her shaking hand might have made you think otherwise, but when she pulled the blade out of her waistband, it was brandished with confidence. She scoured the lines and folds in her She scoured the lines and folds in the metal, the chipped point where it had struck bone. This kitsch may have been dulled, but it was not beyond use. It was far. It was not beyond use. Not when you do things like Grail proper. Not when you do things like Grail. Not when you do things proper. It was far from... Something like this. The idea is really good. I don't like the words yet. Something like that. This kitsch may have been dull, but it was not beyond use. All you needed was to do things like Grail with force and clarity. You just had to do it proper. You just had to do things proper. You just had to do it proper. You just had to ying it proper. I don't know. I try not to use too much slang in the narration, because obviously the slang is like meant for her to talk, but it does make sense to sometimes use it in like that. Because I could do ying, like you just had to ying it proper. All you needed was to do things like Grill. I don't know. I mean, I like the vibe of this. The good thing is the vibe is good. I just the lines they'll be worked on. Okay, but then I needed to transition into this rant. I'm not sure how that's gonna happen. It's tough, man. It's really tough to create like something from nothing, or well, not from nothing. Something from nothing is easier. It's really tough to like have an idea of like what this scene was and then trying to change it, but like keep it the same. Because like I just can't keep it the same. It's just gonna be different. And part of it's better already, but I feel like I'm losing so much of what I wanted, or like what the scene was meant to be originally. This could be another, like, quick idea. Just, like, kind of like, oh, it's nothing much, just enough to break some bones. Nothing much, enough for a quick fight. Enough to break some bones. So that's like a sort of transition, but it's really tough. That's the. It's kind of a transition. That would be the transition. One moment ago, she was enjoying a sight of pure beauty. Now she felt the smallest bit of anger coming up from inside. It was nothing much, just enough to break some bones. She started thinking of all the things she hated, all the liars and fakes. Can you believe them lot? Grail spoke to herself. They really think that we all here for a reason. Hurrah, I guess in a way we are. In the way I am? She scoffed at the sudden remark. Those words held memories of pain she had brought upon Wayside members. This ain't no fantasy, though. Not all of us are destined for greatness. You lot are nothing more than dim lot are nothing. You lot are nothing more. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which one sounds better. I mean, dim men are nothing more than a small piece of a much larger story. That makes more sense. Like dim men. She wouldn't say like you lot unless you're talking to him. Dim men are nothing more than a smaller piece of a much larger story. But then she says it here again, though. That's part of the issue. I don't want her to repeat herself too much. Not all of us are destined for greatness. I could be like... I tried to tell you, you lot are nothing more than a small piece of a much larger story. Them men don't listen, they all walk the ends like they're the dawn, but if they step up to man... But if they step up to man, they'll find quickly that's not the case. Just feeling something bigger without knowing it. I seen Bearman walk the block just to die, turned packed in some neek express some type of way about it. That doesn't make sense. Like bragging. I seen Bearman walk the block just to die, turned packed in some neek bragging some type of way about it. You ain't on piss. Maybe that's your purpose in life. Soaking my streets after everything we went through. Maybe that's your purpose in life. I don't know. I feel like I'm fucking some of it up, but I seen Bearman walk the block just to die, turned packed in some neek bragging some type of way about it. You ain't on piss. Maybe that's your purpose in life? Talking shit. It was just last month you were soaking my streets, so after everything we went through, now this? But me? Yeah, kinda makes sense, kinda doesn't. It was just last month you was soaking my streets. Hmm. It's tough. Trying to end with a lot of these lines too. Alright, I'm probably gonna get off stream soon because like no one's here anyways. I'm just talking to myself, which isn't really doing me any good. Uh Alright.